Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you are new, my name is Angela. I am so glad you guys are here. In today's video, I'm going to take you guys along finally for my pantry tour video. I have not done a pantry tour video for over a year, and I want to take you guys along and share with you some things that we changed, some changes that we made, and a little bit of the reasoning why we made the changes. If you guys saw my previous pantry tour video, you guys would have seen a lot of clutter, a lot of surface space, a lot of potential for things to fall and get knocked over and break, and a lot of wasted space. When we bought our house and we actually built our pantry, we didn't really have in mind mason jars. We just made, regular size pantry shelves, what we thought would work. And there was a lot of space wasted. So we made it definitely more efficient. I'm also going to take you guys along some different spaces in my home and share with you guys some other areas of the home where I keep our food. I know that sounds weird, but stick around to the end and you'll see what I mean. Some different areas in the home where we keep our food and where I actually keep my long-term food. I've never shown you guys that, but if you guys really have to get creative with space in your home and you guys want some ideas, I'm going to take you guys along and share those at the end. But let's go ahead and get started with the pantry tour. Okay, so nestled in between the kitchen and the laundry room is where we have our working pantry. And in here we have actually our freeze dryer on the counter. That's just where it made sense to put it. Turkey's hatching in, I think, 9 days, guys. Exciting. But anyway, this is the perfect location because I'm always in the laundry room. As you can see, this is a real house. I do have laundry to do. I have laundry to do, so I'm always in here, and then I'm always in the kitchen. So this is a perfect location for the pantry. And this is where our working pantry is. So I'm going to take you guys along and share a little bit about our pantry. If you guys watched my previous video, then you know this shelf all across the middle was not here. It was just a big open cubby. And the shelf along this middle wasn't here. It was all one big open cubby. And none of this was here. This is what we added on to help us from double stacking mason jars and just to have some more space. So some of the things I really love about opening it up and doing this along the wall is we had one of those 8-bin cubby organizers in here. If you watch my previous video, if not, I'll link it in the description below. But we had one of those, and I had all our water glass eggs, which now we have a freeze dryer, so I do not have to water glass eggs anymore. But we had all the water glass egg crocks up there, and then these little metal shelves with just stuff stacked all over the place. And it was really an eyesore, and it was really hard to keep it maintained and organized. And I am so glad we were able to do this. I'm going along the top here in our pantry are foods that I have freeze dried so far. If you don't know, I got my freeze dryer for Christmas, so that was super exciting, but it is ridiculously expensive. Just running it for a week increases our electric bill by $200. So $500 electric bills are not the best. So I try to be mindful. At first, yes, we did do some fun things. We have 8 kids, so we do have some Skittles. We do have some ice cream sandwiches. I have a ton of lemons, and those go all the way in the back. So there's about 3 of them that go back. I have lemons. I have mangoes, more mangoes. I have cherries, some freeze-dried apples, blueberries, bananas. You can tell those are about gone. Strawberries and blackberries. So basically fruits and vegetables that are freeze-dried is the whole top. We have tons of corn, some raspberries. I think that's more mango. Yes, that is. And then we have, of course, marshmallows, because why not? And then up here is just miscellaneous alcohols and things that I cook with. I have Jim Beam in the back for my vanilla, my homemade vanilla, and then just some miscellaneous juices, cooking marsala, all those things, and then a bag of raw walnuts that I just shoved up there because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. Along the top here are my protein type things. I have some collagen peptides that I add into stuff. I have some greens from doTERRA. I have a backup of small chocolate chips from Azure Standard that I keep up here. That's basically what's up here, is just things that don't exactly have a place, but that we use all the time. And then I have my different protein powders and my PB and yeah, just different little additives for protein smoothies. And then all the way in the back, it goes way to the back. So I have all my backups back there for these things. I have molasses and extra back there. I have vegetable oils, olive oils, vinegars. I know that's not the best, but I do have that. There's multiple uses for that. Coconut oil. I actually have one tub in my popcorn machine because that's what we use for our popcorn. And I have one tub in there for my homemade products like lip balms and stuff like that that I make. So these are all backups, and these are used once again for cooking and miscellaneous things, and they go away in the back. And coconut oil has a very long shelf life. And then I have like apple cider vinegars and some white distilled vinegars in the back. So that's pretty much what that is just protein stuff, different fats for cooking and oils. And yeah, so that is the whole top of the pantry. Now over here, I do pressure can my own meats, and I'd prefer to do that, but obviously during the pandemic, they limited one package of chicken per trip, and yeah, Sam's Club is an hour away, so I bought a lot of store bought meats back then because one package of chicken is one dinner for us. It's crazy, and yeah, we were struggling, so I bought a ton of canned chicken, and that's still all that I'm going through. I do have our bagged bacon. Guys, I think I'm always going to keep this. Somebody's probably laughing. I have viewers that have watched me from the beginning, and I appreciate you guys so much for still being here, but you guys will probably laugh seeing that I still have the pint of water. The very first thing I ever pressure canned, I just think it's funny, but yes, I still have kept that. Anyway, back here we have a ton of quarts of pressure canned chicken breast. This is probably my favorite meat to can, and I actually do have to can a few more. I have some gaps back there for a video that I just did recently. And then down here on this shelf, I have our ground beef. I just got these 7 quarts up the other day. So we have some ground beef, and then I have some sausage over here, along with some more ground beef. So this area right here is pretty much meats. Moving on to this section over here, this is a lot of dehydrated stuff. I do dehydrate too, but now that I have the freeze dryer, I prefer pressure canning, water bath canning, and freeze drying for my food preservation methods, but there's still some things I think are better dehydrated, and I'll share those with you in a minute. But I have some orange slices, lemon slices that were dehydrated. I do have my dates here. I think that is flax meal. That's flax meal. And then I have some extra chia seeds, and I have some dates here, some more dates. And then in the back, I have also some dehydrated things. This area is basically my fruits, if you can't tell. So we have tons of apple pie filling. I only have 2 more blueberry pie filling. I need to get more on the shelf. If you guys watch my productive evening video, then you guys know my cherry situation. I definitely need more cherry pie filling on the shelf. And then these are all apple sauces, spiced apple sauces. And I just recently canned up our mandarin oranges. I have pears. So basically, like I said, all fruits. And then I have, actually this is blueberry jam. I have 3 pints of cranberry sauce left. So I want to get some more cranberry sauce up on the shelf. And then I have all mandarin oranges. One of my kids actually likes these, the apples, the apple wedges in the red hot syrup. And then I have some cherries in syrup that I canned as well. I actually like that on like on cheesecake for cherry cheesecake. It's delicious. And then in this section over here, the next section over is vegetables. So it kind of goes meats, fruits, hope I'm not making you dizzy, and then vegetables. So I have dehydrated spinach and kale, ones in the back. I have some dehydrated onions. I love dehydrated onions, and I would probably only dehydrate them. I have some red onion slices, and then I have chopped yellow onions behind that. I have chopped jalapenos here, and then I think behind that, I don't even know, are sliced jalapenos. I have dehydrated celery, dehydrated bell peppers, dehydrated carrots behind that, and then a vegetable soup blend, which is dehydrated tomato flakes, dehydrated celery, carrots, onion, and it's got a couple seasonings in it. And then down here I have some sweet potatoes I pressure canned, and then just our regular potatoes. I have, this is what's left of the can that I pressure corned last fall, and then I have a few extra sweet potatoes and then carrots. And then down here, you guys, if you saw my last pantry tour video, you know my pickle dilemma. We actually had that whole cubby here that was open, and that one here was loaded with pickles, and they were all double stacked, and we ate through a lot of them. The guy said I had enough pickles till Jesus came back. I had a lot, but we went through the bread and butter pickles. I was a little bit of an overachiever when I canned those. So that's kind of just the vegetable section. And then over here, like I said, the miscellaneous liquid drinks up there. Here's kind of my nuts and seeds a little bit. We go through nuts a lot. I don't keep them in the freezer. I know you can extend the life, but I do keep them on the shelf just because we go through them quickly. I have some sunflower seeds, some pumpkin seeds. These are toasted sesame seeds, chia seeds, and then hemp hearts. And then there's a big jug of pecans back there. Pecans. That's what's back there. Some homemade chili that goes back. Some homemade beef stock, and then our honey. And then over here is just, I don't always have time to can my own stock, so some miscellaneous store-bought stocks and broths, and then a cream of chicken because I don't have time to cream my own chicken, and some miscellaneous nuts, some walnuts, and different things back there. And then these are some salsas that are extra that I'm actually running low on, and then the rest of the pickles. And then this, so not everything has a spot in my pantry. It's not 100% organized, but these are just miscellaneous things. I have a video coming up using that. I have some espresso beans from Azure Standard, some maraschino cherries, and a store-bought cherry pie filling that I use in a chocolate cake. I'll post that link to the video in the description below. It is the best cherry chocolate cake ever. And then back here is, once again, this is kind of just a little miscellaneous catch-all. I have 2 big K-cup organizers in my kitchen drawer. This is just where I keep the extras because I get the big boxes from Sam's Club, and there's always extras left. Just some miscellaneous popping corn that we picked at the farm this past fall. A big bag of the Equal Exchange coffee beans from Azure Standard. I have some unsweetened coconut flakes here, some pasta. Those are miscellaneous berries in the back. And then I have like some kosher salt, some soup beans, and this is kind of my pastas. So I have a lot of 5-gallon buckets in my pantry, and honestly, it overwhelms me a lot. So I've switched to the jar thing, but we have a lot of space in the back, and I don't want dead space. So I do get a lot of our pastas from Azure Standard, but I do have some store-bought ones back there, and that's what's back there is just miscellaneous store-bought pastas that I know are back there. So they're getting cycled. I have all my pastas here, and then I have down here next to the coffees and drinks, and I have like some store-bought, lemonade mixes that we hardly ever touch. That's why they're shoved back there. But I have dehydrated banana chips. I have quite a few of those. We have some New Mexico hatch peppers that I dehydrated. I have dehydrated bell pepper strips, and then in the back behind that is a whole container of chopped bell peppers, which are super easy to throw in omelets and casseroles and soups and different things like that. I have dehydrated potatoes, and I actually have a video coming up on an amazing side dish to use with these if you guys do dehydrating. I don't know what that is, chopped kale. I really don't like the label look, so I can't peel it off without it making a mess and shredding. So with all the residues, I just flip it around. But I have some dehydrated kale, and then behind that I have some dehydrated potato shreds for like hash browns. I have French fried onions, and then in the back is a huge container of organic cocoa powder because that's what I had room for. And if anyone's wondering, that is a water line to a fridge that we used to have here because before we built our pantry, there was some horrible metal shelves that were collapsing on the wall, and there was a fridge back here, and the fridge was garbage. So we just dumped that and created our pantry. So this whole top section we know was meats, and down here is really no different. Down here is the store-bought shelf is basically what it is. So the whole bottom row is basically tomatoes and petite tomatoes and stewed tomatoes, tomato sauces, actually a couple jars of marinara that I canned myself. Some of my sauces I get from Azure Standard. That's a big jar of Alfredo sauce mix. It's dry. And then all my Azure Standard enchilada sauces and pizza sauces are down there. So this is store-bought stuff. I might just donate this whole shelf. I don't know. I'm not big on store-bought things. The taste, I don't know. And I grew up on Spam, and I'm going to be honest, I have not eaten it since. I'm not a fan of it, but during the pandemic, it was really hard for our family to get meats, and I was really worried that we wouldn't be able to. So I just bought a bunch of things that I don't normally buy. But we have those emergency cans. Basically, that's what it is like an emergency prepper type staple. And then we have a bunch of different tuna. I do have some extra chicken breast right there. And then like the quick tuna pouches to go. And then once again, the sauce is down there. So this whole section is basically meats, and then as you get down here, it's store-bought. And same with the next row, we did all our fruits that I've preserved, and then down here are basically store-bought fruits. And I have just peaches and pears and pineapple and pumpkin and different miscellaneous fruits. My finger was over the microphone for this, but these are basically all the vegetables that I have pressure canned. And then down below are some store-bought vegetables. And then I also have my tomato paste off to the side. And then miscellaneous mixed vegetables and some sliced carrots. Over here, like I showed you before, the stock, some homemade chili, just kind of miscellaneous things, some basically cooking things, cooking stocks and cream of chicken. And then down here are canned beans. That's my reminder to can those beans. I do have a lot of 5-gallon buckets. I finally am making some time where I can just get some pressure canned beans on the shelf myself. We're completely out of black beans, so as I use these up, these will be replaced with all the beans that I am going to just get pressure canned and get some buckets out of here maybe. And then just some Bush's beans. These were actually in our fifth wheeler, and when we unloaded it, or actually our last trip we went on, we unloaded it and just pulled them here. So yes, there's some dates from last year on that, but they're still good. Those were just quick things for on the go. And then my Bush's grilling beans down there. And then, like I said, enchilada sauces and pizza sauces from Azure Standard. And then that is our puppy food, which I think his birthday's coming up. So we will only have one container of dog food for the adult dogs. And then back here, the dates on these don't matter whatsoever. I don't really erase them or rewrite it. But those are black beans that I need to can. Those are extra hard white wheat berries in that bag. And this is basically what I stock up on for my grains and different things like that. So jasmine rice, I have a bucket of. We have hard white wheat, organic popcorn kernels, brown lentils, pinto beans, soft white wheat berries, organic hard white wheat berries, organic whole corn. I don't even know what that is. Or pinto beans. Yeah, I need to get to pressure canning some beans. Navy beans, rolled oats, baking soda. I do get that and stock up on that. Soft white wheat berries, organic einkorn berries, hard white wheat berries. I got some spelt grain. I have some split green peas. I have these little 3-gallon buckets of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Navy beans, some more baking soda, sea salt, split peas. I don't know what that is. Oh, candy. That's why it's on the bottom. That's why it's on the bottom, you guys. I have some sugar here. I'm actually going to talk on that in a minute. I just want to show some of the dry things of what we actually keep in our 5-gallon buckets in case you're wondering. Some more pinto beans, hard white wheat berries, hard red wheat berries, dried yellow corn, all-purpose flour, dark chocolate chips, powdered sugar, organic barley that's whole, rolled oats, iodized salt, organic yellow corn, those are soft white wheat berries, and then granulated sugar. And then I just have in here some extra dark chocolate chips that didn't fit in the other container, and some peanut butter from Azure Standard. Now I really did do my best to try and make that quick. I do have over here some aprons on the wall, my kids' aprons, some extra rings, some extra bands, I should say, for my mason jars, and then just some miscellaneous aprons over there. So what I want to touch on is, number one, the importance of marking things. I've had tons of questions in my last video, my last pantry tour, about marking things. I put the best by date. Products can go past the best by date. I think we all know that, but it helps me cycle through. It helps me see what needs to be used up first. And if I'm starting to see older dates, like the beans you saw 2023, but that's because they were stored in our fifth wheeler, and we're just like, we're not going anywhere probably to the fall if we do anything this year, because we have a lot of things going on and a lot of things we're trying to accomplish. But we unpacked all the food out of the fifth wheeler, so I had to put it on the shelf so we can use it up. But I also want to talk on the importance of actually labeling other things, like your 5-gallon buckets. And this is kind of funny. You're probably going to think so. But, okay, see this jug right here? This is my 2-gallon jug that I keep up here when I make sweet tea or homemade lemonade or things like that. And we just had an uh-oh happen because I didn't have a bucket labeled. And I'm going to show you guys the bucket. So I have granulated sugar in here, and I actually usually always used to keep my sugars with the blue bucket or the blue lid bucket. I don't know why. I used to try to color code things, but that's granulated sugar. Now, I have over here another sugar bucket, granulated sugar, and I also had a third bucket that I kept cane sugar in. This one I had not labeled because I was keeping granulated sugar in here for our bees for when I make their sugar water. So that sugar bucket was cane sugar, and this was our granulated sugar so this was not labeled. And I'm going to show you, but if you look inside of it, you can't really tell that it's not sugar, right? You can't tell. It just looks like sugar, right? I made a big 2-gallon pitcher of sweet tea for dinner for my family a couple weeks back now. My husband, it didn't look right. It was cloudy on the bottom. I'm like, this is not really dissolving like it usually does. And my water was hot. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. And my husband started passing out drinks. Well, of course, he couldn't wait till dinner and snuck a cup for himself. And guess, if you have ever seen my video of my sweet tea recipe, it is called sweet tea. There's going to be sugar in sweet tea, unless you like it unsweetened, and a lot of people don't. So sweet tea is supposed to be sweet. You are supposed to stir that stuff up, okay? It is sweet. There's a lot of sugar in it, and I'm going to leave a link down below if you want a really good sweet tea recipe. But it usually has a lot of sugar in it. This time around, it had a lot of salt in it. And my husband took one big drink, and oh my gosh, his face. He was so disgusted. He went straight to the sink, and he's like, like spit it all out. And I mean, like, he loves sweet tea, so he went in taking some big gulps. And guys, it's really important. Now, we laughed. I laughed, but I was really mad because I'm like, we always do water with dinner all the time. But for the most part, it's always water. And I was like, I really just want something different. And I think it was it pizza that I made? I don't know. Or maybe it was barbecue. I don't know. But it was something where I'm like, water's just not going to be great with this. So I went through the effort and all the steps of, using all my tea bags, which it takes a lot of tea bags to make 2 gallons. And I was like, do I get mad over all my time and all the product wasted? Or do I just laugh that my husband just basically took gulps of sweet tea that have more salt in it than probably the ocean? It was really laughable. But that is one reason why it's really important to label your stuff. I know there's some people out there who are a little extreme with the labeling and label things that are very obvious. But, I still do label my kale and my spinach because I can't really tell the difference when it's dehydrated, but it is important to label things for this very reason. And I do have my mason jars in my pantry, or in my cabinets in the kitchen, labeled because my kids are at an age where they do like to bake and they do like to cook. So like my baking soda, my baking powder, my salt are labeled with marker because I want my kids to know the difference when they're using them. But anyway, you guys, nothing super fancy. Just wanted to update you guys. This definitely has worked better. The only problem with this is, well, it's kind of a problem. So I hate flat surfaces for the simple fact it just collects and catches clutter, is basically how I feel. And if you watch my last video, it was very overwhelming walking in here because just all the metal shelving had stuff stacked on it, and jars would fall off the top because there was stuff stacked on it, and the water glass egg crocks, I had tons of them. So that was one of the things redoing this pantry, that my water glass egg crocks sat on our dining table for quite some time because I'm like, what do I do with these now? I have nowhere to put them. I don't want to just throw them out. I'm not going to freeze dry them because they're not, I just couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I want to do fresh eggs, like if I'm freeze drying eggs, or like eggs like I know within the week they've been laid, not stuff that's been in a jar for 18 months. Anyway, all that to say, I cracked a lot of eggs, and our dogs got eggs, and our chickens and turkeys and ducks got eggs, and everybody got eggs. And now, if you're new to the idea of a pantry, or you're interested and you've seen the videos in your feed, my grocery store in my basement, my grocery store in my house, my prepper pantry, my long-term pantry. There are so many different pantries out there, and there's many different names for whatever you want to call it. I personally like to shop my pantry. I don't consider it a grocery store, but I do like to shop my pantry like a grocery store, I guess. But this is actually my working pantry. That is my name for it. It is a working pantry. Everything is cycled through. My stuff in my buckets are not in Mylar bags. There's no oxygen absorbers in them at all because they're constantly cycled through. There's no bugs. There's no issues. I don't freeze my grains. I know a lot of people freeze their grains to get rid of bug eggs. I don't. I have not had an issue yet. And I've been doing this since 2017. So maybe I just am lucking out. I'm not sure. But all this stuff is cycled through, and it's constantly being replaced and used. That's one thing that I want to say. Whatever you call your pantry, this is my working pantry. And you might sit here and be like, how do you cook out of this? What, like, where's your food? And these are your main staples. So in my working pantry, my main staples are, because I pressure can, meats, fruits, vegetables, pastas, baking staples, oils, vinegar, and all my beans and my pastas, my dry goods, the different grains that I have, sugar, baking soda, salt, baking powder, all those things. That is why this is called my working pantry, and that is why I call this my working pantry, because I work from it and I cook. My meats, we have a long white chest freezer in our garage, and we have 2 upright freezers. Those are loaded with meat. We got a cow in February. We buy cows whole. I have probably 2 whole cows in my freezers, and we have that's another place that I shop. It's not just in here, but that's another place that I get our foods from to make our meals every day. And when you get a whole cow, I mean, you have everything. I have bones for my dogs in the door. I have soup bones. I have the organs to feed my dogs. Like, nothing goes to waste. The whole animal's getting used, and that's why I ask for all those pieces. But I have lots of bones to make soup and broth with. I have all the different cuts, the roast, the stew meat, the flank steaks, the regular steaks, the ground beef, the ribs, everything. Everything's in there. So I have plenty of beef down there, and then chicken. We have whole chickens. We have the chicken thighs, chicken breasts, chicken wings, all the chicken things in the other freezer. And then I have 2 fridge and freezer combos, and those are miscellaneous. We don't do a lot of seafood. I do not like seafood at all, but from time to time I will cook it for my family. And so we have one little freezer with some shrimp and different types of fish in there. And then in the other freezer is just miscellaneous fruits and vegetables is really what it is. So I do have other things that I use, not just this pantry, but my main staples are in this pantry. Okay, so things have gotten moved around since I've done my pantry. Things might change. I've had to really relocate appliances and stuff, but this all might change. This is where my condiments are right now, and our main everyday condiments. And I like to keep it stocked all the way up. Some things I do have to buy. Definitely syrup on the list this month, but ketchups, salad dressings, things like that, barbecue sauces, jelly, peanut butter, mayo. Our toaster's up there. We're not big on cereal. I have one container for cereal, and I have one container for granola for yogurt. So that is all I have here, just main staples. And then this is actually my buttermilk ranch dressing dry powder. So, and then down here is kind of just like my crap shelves. That's what I call it. I have miscellaneous baked chips to go with lunches, mac and cheese. I always keep that on hand for the kids. This is kind of stuff that came out of our fifth wheeler, but we had some extra boxes in there for fast, quick things. The milks for the kids, ramen noodles for when we're sick. This is really a waste of space because this is a lot of stuff we don't use too often other than like the milks for the kids and the mac and cheese. This is stuff that we purchased during rougher years that we just really still have not eaten through. So I might just donate it. It's still within date, but it's not stuff we normally eat. It's just stuff that was available at the store during rougher times. But anyway, that is what is in these cabinets. I still have my drawer in my kitchen with my spices. These are the little spices that they don't sell in bulk at like Sam's Club, because you guys know by now that that's where I buy most of my stuff in bulk, if not from Azure Standard. But these are miscellaneous spices. Yes, for the most part, they're in alphabetical order, so I can find them easier and know what we're out of. These corner cabinets are kind of a mess right now. I didn't know what to do with them. There was stuff in my pantry that was on surfaces when I had the shelving in there. This is where all my appliances were stored, and my appliances were also stored in that little Lazy Susan over there in the corner as well. But since then, I've had to move them to other places. So this is just miscellaneous baking things, salts, corn syrup. I know that's not great for you, but baking powder and just miscellaneous chips that I don't have jars for, like the peanut butter chips or the melting wafers and things like that. My vanilla beans are back there to make my homemade vanilla. So just miscellaneous baking shelf. And then down here as well, I have cornstarch. I have some of the tomato bouillon cubes. These were from the Easter treats that I did. I had 2 left, some beef gelatin, and all of my cooking milks, evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, and coconut milk. So that's kind of what is in there for the moment. In this one over here, I have miscellaneous things. I have balsamic vinegar. So the other one on the other side does not spin. It's stationary because of a wall partition in the back, but this one does spin. So I just have like some banana peppers, some just sandwich type peppers, balsamic vinegar, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce in the middle. These are miscellaneous hot sauces that of course are falling over. I have some more Worcestershire sauce, A1 steak sauce, Heinz 57 sauces, Frank's buffalo sauce. And then over here for when we make wings, I have miscellaneous sauces for all our wings. And then I have hoisin sauce, some tamari sauce, sesame oil. And these, I love these. They're down in Fort Collins, but just infused olive oil. So we have chipotle, and I think this is, green chili pepper. And then over here, like an espresso balsamic vinegar. So these are just different vinegars that aren't in bulk. White vinegar, rice vinegar, all those things. And then miscellaneous chopped peppers, green chilies, which I'm actually out of. I need to put that on my list. And then the chilies in a Bodo sauce. And that's pretty much it. Down here is just a little snack section, nothing huge, because I've been trying to just make things for my kids. But this is where we keep the meat sticks from Azure Standard. And we just have some Kind bars, rice cakes, nuts. This is the miscellaneous licorice from them. Some trail mix. These are all the fruit snacks that we had that we bought in bulk at the beginning of the year. Some trail mix. And then some bags of nuts. My kids are actually really liking the pistachio nuts, so I need to get a couple more of those. But that is pretty much what's in this cabinet. And then in my kitchen, you guys know by now, this is like my baking cabinet. This is all the spices that I have since bought in bulk. So I just keep them in mason jars with the lids. And then I have all my bulk spices from Sam's Club up here on the top shelf. So that's how I actually store them. I think it makes sense. I don't like shuffling things around to find things. I really don't like the turntable style things very much for spices. So I have found this works absolutely best. And as much as I cook, dedicating a whole shelf in my kitchen is not too unrealistic for how much cooking I do. And then in here, just miscellaneous baking bars. I have my dyes and stuff for my cakes that I do and desserts. And then I have some sprinkles, some melting wafers to dip like strawberries in, and then just fun baking things for the kids, whether it's for cakes or just whatever. Then I have my sprinkle tower over here. I have some small chocolate chips and big ones back there that I keep accessible in the kitchen because I'm always in here doing everything, and going to the pantry all the time is not really reasonable. I have a little thing of honey to work with, more spices back there. And then here I have like my molasses, my olive oil spray, baking soda, kosher salt, iodized salt, baking powder. You get it. And then over here, just miscellaneous little spices too. I have the black sea salt from Asher Standard and some vanilla paste and some celery salt that I made homemade when I dehydrated my celery, and different extracts and things like that. Some espresso. Love this. The Bang Bang for Bang Bang chicken. And then over here I have my homemade vanillas. I actually need to put 2 away and I need to fill some up, but all my homemade vanillas are right there because they're too tall for the cabinet. And then in this middle drawer are my backups for my backups, because I go through spices and I don't know how many times I pull one out of that cabinet and I am out. So they're not all full up there. A lot of them are used up. So you can see over here I have, and then over here more miscellaneous spices and extracts, but these are the ones that don't fit in any of the other places, but lots of cooking and baking going on here. My videos in the past that all my main baking staples that I use in the kitchen, my plastic containers were up here and they were sideways, and I had 9 of them, and I had like flour, dried corn, sugar, different things like that. I didn't really like storing them in plastic, so I switched it up, and up here is just some coffee in bulk and my food processor. And in this cabinet right here, I have moved them to glass jars. And because I have so many more staples than I actually had in that cabinet, I have so many more staples that I use, and I don't like running to go get buckets out of the pantry all the time when I'm cooking. So I just try and keep these stocked. But I have wheat berries, I have raisins, rye flour, I don't even know what's back there, breadcrumbs, almond flour, popping corn kernels, quick oats, and then jasmine rice, yellow corn for milling my corn, rolled oats, some pinto beans because I use those the most, all-purpose flour, brown sugar. I need to make more. I'm out of it. And then I have my regular sugar over there. So this is kind of where my main baking staples in the kitchen are. That's my go-to, and I just fill them up with the buckets when they get low. Now for more of the emergency type supplies, we do have like life straws in here and the cooking fuel, but over here we have a lot of long-term type foods. So all up here, if you need to get creative with space, we just use the top of our closet shelf, and this is where we keep all the long-term type of foods that are freeze-dried or dehydrated. And then we also have them on the other side over here as well, but they go back, and that is where we keep our long-term stuff. And then in the very back, this is just all the emergency foods before we had our freeze dryer. Emergency foods that we have kept. There's lunch pails, fruit and vegetable pails, breakfast pails. So this is our emergency stuff. This is actually where I keep my shrink bags for processing our chickens and ducks. And then these do have oxygen absorbers. These are a Mylar bags, and that is the date when I did these. That's also actually an extra bag of basmati rice. I don't know why that's up here. My kids might have got confused, and I'm like, put it with our long-term stuff. I'm in the bucket. But anyway, hard red wheat berries, white wheat berries, those already have a long shelf life as it is, but putting them in Mylar with an O2 absorber definitely extends it quite a bit. But that is where we have had to get creative to keep our emergency stuff. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm also sorry if I sound kind of monotone. I am not feeling well. I started feeling sick the past 2 days, and I really feel like we have some kind of bug coming on. So I'm not my usually smiling, perky self today, and I'm noticing that I've done so many retakes making this video, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just not feeling good. But I did want to get this video out to you guys. I hope it was helpful. If you guys are new to this idea of creating a pantry, then I hope some of these tips in this video helped you out on how to start. All right, you guys, well, thanks for hanging out and coming along my pantry tour video with me. I appreciate you guys being here and dealing with the fact that I am sick and dealing with me like this because I'm not my usual self right now. But when I do feel better, I do want to take you guys along and do a video. I've had a lot of people comment to me recently asking more questions about a pantry, where to start, how do you build it up quickly, and I have a lot of tips and tricks that I can share, but I just don't want to exhaust this video, so I'm going to share that in a separate video. Yes, I did share some basic things in today's video, but I want to be more in depth and elaborate, and also share with you guys some do's and don'ts and things that I've learned along the way and mistakes that I have made when building my pantry. And yes, that does happen. So it's been a lot of years that I have had a working pantry like this that's well stocked, and I will be sharing those tips with you guys in a different video. So I hope today's video maybe gave you guys some different ideas of how you can store things in your home, or maybe some different food items that you don't have in your pantry that you would like to add. And if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down in the description box below. What are some things that are a must-have in your pantry, your whatever pantry it is, your grocery store, your working pantry, your long-term pantry? What are some of your favorite things to store? And what tips would you have if there was somebody who was just starting out on a pantry? What are some of the words of wisdom that you would give them on how to be successful at it? I appreciate you guys being here. I will see you guys on the next video. Until then, take care and God bless.